Hey, HR friends, welcome back. It's the 4-2 emotional 6.5 day sequence. We're going to talk about day 6. Now, if this is your first forecast with us, we recommend you look at this general overview for the 4-2. And what it'll do is it'll kind of orientate you to these graphs so that you can keep up when we do these forecasts. Now, day 4 and 5, we talked about a mental polarity flip that was happening. You can see that this single mental polarity flip is going to move into day 6, and then it's actually going to jump up, and there's going to be a dual mental polarity flip. And then there's going to be another elevation because there's going to be an emotional polarity flip that follows on top of it. And what this is starting to do is it's creating a larger swell. Now, on top of that swell, we've got all these little polarity flips that are starting to create some chop. Now, this swell is definitely going to elevate this to a level that we're concerned about. Anytime we get to that number 4, it's concerning. In addition to what's going on here in third person, we've also got some up and down movements in first person. There's a pretty good gap that happens here in the second 12-hour period of first person agitation. Now, when we combine these two things, you can see that in the second 12 hours, we're at that level 4 and above a level 4 for pretty much the rest of the 4-2 sequence. So this is when we really got to start to focus, because when this pattern elevates, it's really going to try to manipulate our defensive design and get us to either run away or cause more problems for ourselves. That's why we do these forecasts. We're trying to help you prepare for that, so that doesn't take advantage of you and you're not manipulated by your body's design. All right, so let's get down here now, and we're going to briefly talk about the testing sequence that's going to happen in each quadrant. Now, there have been some changes. In day 5, upper left was being tested at that level 4. That's going to drop down a little bit, down to that 2-3 range. So it's not going to be as heavily tested. In the right upper quadrant was pretty much obsolete in day 5. Day 6, it's bumping up here. We're not quite to a 4, but it's definitely at that 3 range consistently. Left lower quadrant is actually going to come down a little bit. Now, it's still above 4, meaning this is going to be the most difficult quadrant in this next 24-hour period of time. It's being tested more heavily than the other 3. Now, the right lower quadrant's trying to catch it a little bit here. In day 5, we were down at that level 2. On day 6, we're up at that level 4. So the big story here is going to be left lower quadrant, but don't be surprised if you feel your right lower quadrant kick up a little bit. And remember, these are the governing frequencies. To be in alignment with these frequencies and to not hurt when these frequencies test us, you just have to balance with all your teammates, and you have to balance your routine. And when you balance your routine, what it has to do is it has to make sure every future teammate that's going to come into existence is going to have a fair and balanced experience because of what you contributed in yours. That's how simple that is to understand. All right, let's get down here and talk about the zoomed in 24-hour guide. Now, this just brings the electromagnetics in, and it actually synchronizes it with universal time. Now, you can convert this to your time zone if you want to. The easiest thing to do is just go to healthreconnected.com. We've got a live feed. Hit play, time bar comes up, shows you exactly where we are in this sequence. Now, this is a light day in testing. And when I say testing, testing in alignments. 24/7 we're being tested, but alignments are when two frequencies in a quadrant that are testing the same thing come together for a certain period of time. So, for example, when the time bar is going through this blue alignment here, it's going to be testing to see how well we get along with the younger teammates. Okay. And that's going to affect your left lower quadrant. So, if you're having problems getting along with younger teammates, meaning you can't communicate or coordinate with them, it's hard to alleviate stress, it's hard to encourage and balance routine with them, then you're going to suffer down here in the left quadrant as the time bar is going through this blue alignment. So the second alignment we're going to talk about is this little purple one right here. This is only a 45-minute alignment, and this is going to affect the upper left quadrant of the body. Now, the time side has to do with routines, and the upper quadrants have to do with our larger routines. You got to remember, you got to balance your routines at the individual, the family, the national, and the world level. And what does that mean? I'm going to say it again. Whatever you contribute to, it has to leave this world a better place for all the future families that are going to inhabit it. What you do is creating an imbalance for future families, and it affects nations in the world in an imbalanced way. You're going to feel in this upper left quadrant. That's just what's going to happen during this 45-minute time. Now, these are not long alignments. This is not a great confirmation day for alignments, but these are long enough that we wanted you to be aware of them. If something happens, again, just lets you know that your choices are unbalanced. Okay, so this is just the zoomed in testing sequence we already talked about, and the time bar is going to progress for this. You can see left lower quadrant's really the most elevated quadrant here. These two graphs talk about where the strongest frequencies are going to sit for this next 24-hour period of time. And it's starting to balance a little bit more. In the previous 2 days, things were really stacked up on the left. And now we pretty much balanced it out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the left. That means we've got 5 on the right. So in this next 24 hours, if you get right upper quadrant pain, what that's telling you is this: you need to focus on your routines. If you happen to get left upper quadrant pain in this next 24 hours, what that's telling you is you need to focus on getting along with the other teammates. Now, if you're having problems in the lower quadrants of the body, you're going to want to document what you feel and when you feel it, because there's overlap here, meaning both teammates and routines are being tested. Now, we do these graphs because we want you to know where to focus to get well as fast as possible. But at the same token, don't overcomplicate this. Literally every day, what you need to do is focus on getting along with all your teammates and balancing your routine. And the sooner you do that, the sooner you won't have to worry about these graphs as much. All right, so we're going to end this out now by showing you we've got the electromagnetics posted for the rest of 2024. No more mystery. We're showing you this pattern. It's going to elevate when it's going to affect first person, third person, what the combined is. And what we want to do is we want to empower you to eliminate your stress. We want you to slow the aging process. We want you to be able to heal the disease states you have. And most importantly, we want you to commit to this process so you get out of this negative feedback loop. Now, as we get more and more people invested in this and overcoming this pattern, when we get regions of people overcoming this pattern, we're going to have a collective effect that will be noticeable. You're going to see that social tension is going to decrease. You're going to see that we're going to be able to stabilize our climate and our environment. That's what Health Reconnected is up to here. And for that to happen, we need your help. We need your commitment. And that's why we do these forecasts. See you in the next 24.